Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's BerryFae. Today I'm going to be doing a beginner's guide to eyeshadow. I've got a request for this video a couple of weeks back, and so I just went through my phone last night and looked through all the different requests that I got. I got a whole album just to, people who think I'm just making stuff up. So I have a whole album right here on my phone called YouTube Request, and these are just different videos that people requested from me. As you can see, there's quite a few that I need to get through. I did about 3 of them so far, but I just decided that I'm gonna do one of them, which was eyeshadow for beginners. Without further ado, let's get started. So I do have my handy dandy notebook here, right here. This is just gonna keep me on track so that I don't miss a step. So the first thing we need to know when we're doing eyeshadow is we kind of need to know what look we're going for. That will determine how many steps you actually have to take. If you're going for a natural look, you're probably going to be using about 2 to 3 colors. If you're going for a dramatic look, you're going to be using about 4 to maybe 5, even 6 colors. And if you're going for just a monochromatic look, which is just one color, then you're probably only going to need 2 of that color in 2 different shades / textures, if that makes sense. So today I'm going to be just doing a semi-natural with color look for beginners. It's not going to be super dramatic. It's not going to have a lot of deep dark colors. It's not going to have a lot of bright colors either. This is just going to be a simple eyeshadow look for the average girl who's going to work, church, or just anywhere out to eat. It doesn't matter where you're going, but this is a type of look that almost anyone can recreate. Okay, so first things first, you always want to start off with either a primer or a base. So this is an eyeshadow primer. You don't have to use this one from Urban Decay. There are thousands of different eyeshadow primers out there. I just happen to have this one right here. Primers basically are a barrier between your skin and the makeup you're applying. So if you really care about your skin, I would suggest using a primer. And also, primers give a base so that anything you put on top of it, it lays smoothly, seamlessly, and flat. You do not want chunky eyeshadow, so I suggest you use a primer. Now, if you don't have a primer handy, or you just prefer not to use a primer all the time, which is my case, I typically would use concealer. There are thousands and thousands of concealer options out there. Pick whichever ones you want. These are different type of concealers that I have handy. This one is from ColourPop, NYX, Maybelline, and NYX. Different shades. For me, the brighter the primer, the better my color payoff on my shadows are. So what you do with the primer or the concealer is you just literally place it on your eyelid, then you blend it out. You place it on your eyelid, you blend it out, and then you set it with the powder. Do not forget that step. Otherwise, you're gonna just your eyeshadow is going to get really oily throughout the day. So the concealer trick is what I'm gonna do today, just because, like I said, I don't always like to use eyeshadow primer per se. Face primer I always have to use, but eyeshadow I can, give or take with that. You literally just apply a couple of dots, and then you can either use a makeup sponge or a dome eyeshadow brush. In this case, I'm using this one, super inexpensive, and you just want to tap it in place so that it can be blended. Make sure you get the entire lid and the crease and under the brow bone. And this technique is specifically beneficial for girls who have darker eyelids. Like if your eyelids are darker than the rest of your face, this trick will really help with your eyeshadow so that you can't really see your skin tone through your eyeshadow. I know sometimes people put on eyeshadow and you can still see their skin. This will kind of give that clear canvas so that anything you put on top of your eyes is going to show through. So again, just tapping it in place, not rubbing it, just tapping it. At the end, I like to just smooth it out. So as you can see, there's definitely a difference between the color of my eyes and my skin. That's how you know you've primed your eyes the right way. Next, what you want to do, the step that I told you, don't you ever forget, you want to set it with a powder. Now there are different powders out there. that you can do this step with. I personally like to set mine with a banana powder or a yellow powder. Any yellow powder that you have, that should be good enough. Or you can use a translucent powder, which is a white or sheer powder. So I have different powder options. This one is Sasha Buttercup, which I barely use anymore. This one is the Crayon Cases Chalk Dust in the color N. Super affordable, super duper affordable option is this Airspun powder. You can get this at Walgreens, Walmart, and this is only $5. Okay, $5. Cannot go wrong with $5. And this powder is perfect for setting your concealer. So I'm going to end up using this one. Again, it's called the Airspun powder, and I'm going to use that same brush. Tap it in. Dust off the excess because you don't want too much powder falling all over your face. And I'm just going to gently pass it through all over my eye. And if you use your finger, you'll see that it's super smooth. That's how you know you did the job, because concealer is sticky, and if you could feel stickiness, that means it's not set. So just pass your finger and see if it's like a smooth canvas. Alright, so your eyes are officially set. Okay, now when you're doing your eyeshadow, you want to determine again what kind of look you're going for. That should determine the type of palette that you use. I always suggest that you get more than one type of eyeshadow palette, just because there's so many options. It's fun to play with color, so make sure you get more than one eyeshadow palette. Don't just stick to one, because there's so many different looks you can do if you have more than one. So today I'm going to be using the Perception palette by ColourPop X times Makeup Shayla. This is like my go-to palette when I'm in a rush. It has some really neutral colors, as you can see. It has some soft colors, some deep colors, and a vibrant color there. So you want to start off with an all over shadow brush. This one here is from Ulta, and you can get these type of brushes anywhere, but this one literally is called an all over shadow brush. What this brush is for all over your eye. Now what I like to do is I like to start off with a color like this. As you can see, that's why it's almost out compared to the other colors. You want to start off with a color that's a little bit closer to your skin tone, and you take that color and put it literally all over the eye as a base color. So anything you put on top is going to blend in with this color, and you just literally swipe it across. And you want to use back and forth motions when you get to this area here. This is like what I call the rainbow eye. You want to just go up and down like a rainbow. And you can go as many times as you want. The more you go, the smoother it's going to look. So that is your base color. That's the first color you put. Next is your transition color. Now for your transition color, you want to switch brushes, but you don't absolutely have to if you're in a rush. A transition color, you want to use a fluffy brush, a brush that is flaring out. This is going to make sure that the color you put on your eye is not super harsh. Rather, it's like a smooth application because of the way the brush is formed. This was the base color. Now, for this palette, I would use this color here because it's like a burnt red orange color. This is going to be the transition color, and you want to tap it a couple of times so you can get the most color the first time. Always dust off the excess, let that powder fly, baby, fly. And then for this color, you want to concentrate it from the outer corner of your eye, like where your liner will be, to like right here. You want to concentrate it right here. So if you could just go like this, as if you're like holding a coin, that's where you want to concentrate the transition color. So I'm just going to start right here, just tapping it, slowly going up. And how you know you're doing it right, you could kind of feel the eye socket. So I'm just going to place it there, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the rainbow motion, but stopping like in the middle right here. You don't want to go past this for your transition color, but you want to only concentrate it on this part of the eye. And the benefits of a transition color, any color you put above or under it, it's going to blend it together. So you kind of see I'm like stopping like right there. And this is why it's important to have a brush kit. Like, you don't want to use one brush for your eyeshadows because there's different steps you have to take when you're doing your eye looks. There are a ton of affordable brushes that you can buy in a set. I will link my favorite ones down below. Some are from Amazon. So most of them are from BH Cosmetics. You can get some from ELF. You can get some from Morphe. There's so many affordable brushes out there. As you can see, we are starting to look like a look. All right, so the next step, which is step 4, is your outer crease color. For this, you want to use a brush that's a little bit more dense. The outer crease color is where you put like your drama colors, your dark purples, your blacks, your blues, anything that's a little bit more darker. So for this case, any of these colors, this blue here, there's this blue, there's these dark colors down here, these purples, these burgundies. Those are your typical outer crease colors. I'm going to use this color called Played Out. It's burgundy / purple color down here, and you want to use a brush that is dense. This is what I mean by dense brush. It's not super flared out, and it's like, it has density. If you tap it, you can feel like the bounciness in it. I don't know what to say. Look, and this is going to be focused only on the outer part of the eye here, and you always tap these type of colors in, because if you drag it, typically they're going to fall and you're going to have a lot of fallout, and that's just annoying. So I just like to just tap it like 1,000 times on that same spot. You want to look down in the mirror to make sure you're getting it in the right spot as well. And here's another tip. If your brush bristles, like if the bristles of the brush are falling out, throw it away, sis. We're not using some cheap brushes. Like, it's just not going to make your application good at all. If it's the brush is telling you to throw me away, like, don't keep a brush if the bristles are falling out. Next is the lid color. The lid color, you typically want to apply it with a flat brush, only because one, your lid is like the biggest part of your eye where you put shadow anyways. So you want to use a brush that you can use when, like, in this type of motion here. So for lid colors, this is where all the fun happens. You can stay matte, which is a color that has no shimmer, no glitter. That's a matte color. Or this is where you can add your shimmers and your glitters and all that. So again, I like to use a flat brush. On the flip side, another way to apply a lid color is with your fingers. This is where you can have the most fun. This is where you want to be creative. This is where you want to add all the different type of colors of the rainbow, depending on the look you're going for. I'm only going to use 2 different lid colors on this look, just because I'm not trying to confuse anyone out there. But this is where it comes in. So the first step is to tap it in there gently, because lid colors typically have a whole lot of fallout. So you want to just tap it gently into the pan, and always shake off the excess, because it's going to fall all over your face if you don't. Now you want to apply the lid color wherever you stop the outer crease color. So this dark color, where that stopped, that's where my lid color is going to sit. You don't want to go above. You see that transition color, that color that we did here? You do not put the lid color above that. It's like a restricted area. You can only go from here to here, and you have to stop there, okay? Restricted. Now I'm not going all the way in the inner corner. That's just because I'm going to add another color there, but you want to just tap it. So there's a limited amount of space that you have for this lid color. Now a trick that I tell people all the time, I think I've been saying this in like almost all my videos from years past. Whenever you're doing a shimmer lid color, you do the first coat regularly, and then you spray your brush. Always spray your brush to reapply the color, because what it does is when the brush is wet and you dip it back into the pan, it picks up 10 times more of the color, and it allows the color to be more vibrant on your eye. So as you can see, it just becomes 10 times more vibrant. I'm telling you, this trick is the key to making sure your eyeshadow looks bomb. Okay? Always spray your brush on the second coat. Now you can kind of pull it on top of the outer crease color. It's okay if you want more of it, if you want to do it like gradient effect. Now I'm just going to do the other side, but I'm going to do it with my finger just so I can show you guys that sometimes it's okay to use your fingers. Matter of fact, I always recommend it to people. Like, I love using my fingers. But if you don't want to get your hands dirty at the moment, then whatever. So just use whatever finger you're comfortable with. Sometimes I use this color, if this finger, if I'm not really trying to be strategic on my placement. But if I'm trying to be specific on where I place it, I use my pinky finger because it's the smallest. So I'm just going to go ahead and dip that in there. And the good thing about using your finger, you don't have to like tap it for excess fallout because it's all going to stick to your finger. So there's the color there, and you're going to just place it just like you did there. Can you see the vibrancy is just as good as when you wet your brush the second time? So that's with the brush. This is with my finger. And you gotta be careful that your fingers don't do any overlapping of colors. Now, if you can see, they look exactly the same, and this one is less effortless. Like this one, you had to be a little bit more strategic while wetting the brush the second time, but this one is with your finger and it looks just as good. Now, if you want even more color, just go ahead and dip your finger back in and reapply some of the color. And again, I'm dragging like the end to just be a little bit more of like a gradient effect. Alright, so this is what we're looking like so far. Super chill. Alright, and then the last step you want to do is step 6 and 7. Always go back and blend. Now, a lot of people sometimes forget this step. You want to go back in with your transition brush, which is the flaring brush, the one that's like, always go back in and just blend out the edges right here. That's like the key. Don't ever forget it. Don't ever forget it. And this is just so that anything that may have went above its restricted area, it kind of like seams it back into place. So I didn't reapply any color on the brush, but if you have to, it's okay. If you see that the color is fading off, it's alright to just go ahead and reapply that color. In this area, I like to do circle motions just because there's like a wide space right there. And then just pull it out. And lastly, you want to add a little bit of finishing touches. So as you can see, I didn't quite get exactly all the way in the inner corner of the eye, and that's simply because I wanted to leave room for a tear duct color. So this area of your eye is called your tear duct. So right here, I'm going to add my pop of color. Just for the sake of the video, I'm going to actually add a pop of a different color from this color scheme we got going on, just so that you can see how easy it is to amp up your look just by doing this little step. So I'm going to take this color called Sassy, and it's like a blue / aqua color, and I'm just going to use a tiny eyeshadow brush. Sometimes these brushes are called a pencil brush or a bullet brush. There are different sizes and brushes like these, so you just pick which one you feel like is going to do the job. You kind of pull it up a little bit so that it blends right here with the other color. So whenever you see that a color is not really showing up, that's a signal that you need to wet your brush. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of my face, and I'll be back to do the closing remarks. So the last step that you want to do when you're completing an eye look is, well, there's two different things. One is the color that you put on your brow bone. Sometimes I typically don't put an eyeshadow, rather a highlight. So this is a highlight palette from Anastasia. It's called the Glow Kit in Sun Dipped. You can use an eyeshadow, you can use a highlight for this part, 4 different colors. I typically like to use the most golden color for my brow bone, and the brush that you would use is either a dome brush or any other type of skinny eyeshadow brush, and you just put that literally right there at that arch and bring it down. Just blend it out smoothly. Smooth it out. And with that same brush, I'm gonna just put some in my inner tear duct. Now, if you are a type of person that likes to do the bottom lashes, the bottom of your eye, I like to use a brush like this one is from Morphe. It's the E10 brush, and it just has a slanted point. I like to use this under my eye. The shape of it is perfect for that. And what I like to do is use that same burnt red color here, as that one I use right here as my transition color. That's the color I typically put under, and I do this after I've applied my eyeliner. So I have black eyeliner down there, and I'm just going to use this red color to smoke it out a little bit. And that is the end of this. This is a beginner's guide to eyeshadow. Super easy look. If this video definitely helped you, give this video a thumbs up. Hope that this video was very beneficial to those who want to learn how to do eyeshadow in an easy step. I know there's so many videos out here on YouTube that you could have watched, but you chose to watch mine, so I am very much appreciative of that. If this video indeed helps you, give this video a thumbs up, and don't be afraid to comment your questions, and I will get to you in the next video. Thank you for watching.